ladies groups, which Joey supports a lot of the ladies groups. I don't know all of them. Stilettos is one. They're out of Cedar Rapids, right? The Chrome Divas, yeah. They're an association. They don't claim a state, right? Any club that claims a state is a club. It's a motorcycle club. Since we don't claim a state, we don't have to go through that sons to get permission to be here. Now, being around these groups, you don't just walk into them and start associating with them. We have ridden with the combat vets for 3 years. Get involved in this group. You have to show them respect, which they will show you, but you have to show them that you're honest, that you're true, and then you will eventually get their respect to where they'll start to they'll talk to you, but to get them to come up and actually let you in their group. We've been invited to birthday parties, Christmas parties. We've been on, like I'd say, a lot of their rides with the combat vets. We deal with, like I say, we do deal with the sons, the Defiant Souls. We are friends with several of the Defiant Souls, some of the sons. Of course, most of the CMA members in here know those guys more so than we do. They've been involved when we have. They know we're there. They want us to be there if they need us. They know we're there when they need us. A lot of those groups want us to be there. And you get the ones that, don't want anything to do with you. And then you have the ones that will speak to you all the time. We run into that quite a bit. One of the funny things was when we were at one of the combat vets, bike nights. And they were giving a bike. It was one of the ones last year where it was giving bikes away. Defiant Souls were there. There was a few sons there. There was probably 15, 20 Defiant Souls, maybe a few sons, about a half a dozen combat vets, and us. We were the only two there, Christians. She walked by one of them to try to get out, and he blocked her path. So she said something to him. He must not have heard her. The guy that was talking to him kind of shoved him out of the way. She walks by him, and he said something to her. And she didn't hear what he said, so she turns around and asks him. Well, he said it again. Well, then she really didn't hear him, so she got a little closer, said it again. He goes, "Praise God. Praise Jesus." And she said, "Yeah, praise Jesus." He didn't get the response he was looking for. He kind of wanted her to cower and disappear. So he stood there a little bit, he laughed, and gave her a hug. This guy was one of the enforcers of the Defiant Souls. Now, does anybody know what the enforcers do? They kind of go around and solve problems. They're the problem solvers of their chapters. They either solve the problem or they make it go away. To get one of them guys to do that, pretty remarkable. So that's about all I got to say about them. I mean, we deal with them. We're around them all the time. You respect them, they'll respect you. That's all they're asking. My wife's Arlene's now going to talk.
Is this on already? I think so.
Just flip the button up.
No, flip the button up. Oh, there we go. Is that better? No?
Just yell.
Right.
Just yell.
Pull it probably closer to your
Is the light supposed to be on?
mouth.
Or is that the stay? Is it on?
Yeah.
There you go.
was told, this guy had arms on him like this big around, broad shoulders, and it's like, just barely touched him, hoping he would feel me and he would move, but yeah. Anyway, it was quite a deal. When I found out who he was, it was like, whoa. Okay, well anyway, I want to talk about the women's part in all of this. In our motorcycling community, there is a difference, like he was talking about, between associations like CMA and a motorcycle club. In these clubs, they are really completely male-centered. The women don't wear patches. They don't wear a full patch. Sometimes they'll wear a partial. And they have no say in anything that goes on in the clubs. Some of them will wear, like what you see here, property of, it's usually property of Slider or whatever their guy's nickname is. And before we joined CMA, we were riding, we would come across some of these clubs, and I would see the women like this, and it just would break my heart. And it was then that God really gave me a burden for the women in the motorcycling community. And I've learned a few things in our leadership trainings and that kind of stuff, and just being around the community, that these women wear these patches with pride. It doesn't mean to them what it means to us, and it affords them protection if they're not with their group or with their significant other, and which really seems very strange and foreign to us, but that's their culture. So it's something that we respect it. And it took me a long time to really come to grips with that, because to me, property, I'm not property of anybody, but when you're associated with I did tell them we're in this together, so I guess. So anyway, approaching some of these women that are in the actual clubs can be very difficult. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to be able to really talk to a lot of these women. A couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, I think it was in our first year, we were doing a bike blessing down in Keokuk, and there was a lady sitting on the bike. A lot of times they will stay with the bikes for various different reasons, but so she's sitting on the bike, and you go by and you say hi, and they'll respond to you, but that was really the end of the conversation. So it's a little harder to kind of get to know some of the women, at least for me. I'm not quite as outgoing as my wonderful husband back here, but it's something that God's working on that with me, to be able to approach those. We do have one of the ladies in our group that said one of the ways that she will approach them is when you're standing in line for the restroom. Because, their guys aren't going to be with them there, they're not with their whole group, and what do we do when we're standing in line? We start talking to each other. So that seems to be a thing that really works for her. Let's see. You do have to put the time in to cultivate those relationships, whether it's just with the women or it's with, the individual or the groups. So you have to put your time in. I mean, it's not just a kind of a one and done. You do spend a lot of time with these people, just trying to show them who you are and who Christ is. And one of the bike blessings is the one thing that I really, really enjoy now. And I remember before being in the CMAs, all the CMAs would go over here. They would pray before we started the bike blessing. And I remember thinking one day I want to be able to do that. And so it's really been a privilege to be able to be at these bike blessings and to go around to each individual person and what do you need prayer for? Sometimes they don't have anything. Sometimes, you know, they're just wanting their bike blessed so they can stay on 2 wheels through the summer. But other times, you know, like Randy said, there are some heartbreaking stories. And sometimes you will see the same person from year to year. There was an acquaintance of ours that she had just found out she had breast cancer a couple of years ago. And so we prayed for them. Last year, at our bike blessing, they sought us out to pray for her again this year. And she is doing really well. And, you know, to be able to see people from year to year and know what is going on in their lives, to see, you know, how God is working in their lives has really been quite a blessing. You know, whether it's just a quick meeting with that person or, you know, to plant that seed, or if it's an ongoing relationship. I am just really waiting on God to direct my paths and to be able to speak to more of the women in these groups, and just praying that I am planting the right seeds. All right, Carol.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm here to talk to you. As CMA, we are a ministry. Can you hear me okay? You got to hold this pretty close. So we are a ministry, and Run for the Sun is our one fundraiser we do every year that helps support ministries throughout the country. So 100% of our profits go to evangelizing. None of it goes for administrative costs. Together over the years, Run for the Sun has helped to touch 194 countries. So as you can see from that map, we are out there a lot, whether it's through one of our missions that we join with, or whether it's just CMA across the country. Like I said, that's the only Run for the Sun is the only official fundraiser that we do every year, and we do it kind of throughout the year, and then at the end of our Run for the Sun year, which is May, we turn in all of our profits. So over the last 33 years, CMA has helped to bring 30 million people to profess Jesus Christ as their Savior. And over the past, so it's just a great organization for getting people to profess to Christ. So 40% of that profit goes, stays here in the States, and goes directly to evangelizing locally, like everyone's talked about, either at a bike blessing or just an event of some kind. We go to rallies, we might take money at the gate, we might hand out water, we might do a blessing here and there, we might park bikes, but that's all used to, we hand out things like rag tracts, we have small Bibles, but that money helps to go to purchase all those. So a lot of it stays here with our, for our local evangelizing. We don't, when we go to a bike event, we don't go to become the other bikers, but we go to serve, just like Jesus came and served us on earth. So we go out and we serve at these events. We help with whatever they need, you know, whether it's cleaning bathrooms, and that's a great time to meet women and talk to them, or whatever we do. It's just to get out there and get out and be noticed, be seen, and be there when they need us. And we just strive to demonstrate, you know, what Christ means, and we're there to get that across to people. That's why it's important that we continually stay true to Christ throughout our evangelizing and our ministering, and we don't, you know, become those people that use foul language and stuff. We have to stay true to our, to Christ and get that out to people. And like Charlene and Jeff both said, the more constant we are at that, the more they trust us and the closer we can become to them. So we also provide training. Charlene mentioned leadership training. So if you're an officer, you can go to a leadership training. There's all kinds of trainings down at the home of CMA in Hatfield, Arkansas. But there's also local trainings. So the 40% of our funds go locally, and then there's the rest, other 60, so 20% is we partner with Mission Ventures, and this helps to provide motorcycles and other forms of transportation so that the planted church can get out to other people that have not been reached. Like the video talked to us about, to date, CMA has placed over 7,000 motorcycles, 7,000 bicycles, 46 boats, 40 horses, 1 camel, 2 snowmobiles, 13 wheelchairs, 4 horses and buggies, and that has been in 101 countries. And I know Ken always likes us to mention the 1 camel. He always gets a kick out of that. So statistics show that for every pastor that can get that motorcycle, he can start 10 new churches, because what took him before, hours or days to walk from one village to another, one area to another, he can now ride and get to more than one in a day, or hit a couple different villages in a day. So that's how the transportation helps us. We also partnership through Open Doors, and Open Doors helps to get Bibles translated and out to let's see, I think I missed a spot, didn't I, Ken? You're doing good and I'm not, so. This page. I did, I missed a page. Sorry about that. Okay, let's talk about the Jesus Film Project. That's first. So the Jesus Film Project is, in 20% of our fundraising goes to the Jesus Film Project, and it gets out into all different countries so that the Jesus film can be shown in other languages across the nation. It's also translated in more than 1,800 languages and has been shown in 225 countries. Historically, for every dollar invested in the Jesus film, at least 10 people worldwide will accept Christ. And then 20% of our fundraising goes to Open Doors. And this helps to get to those countries who may be persecuted if they are known as a Christian or trying to worship God. So for the last 65 years, Open Doors has been committed to working in 60 of the most oppressive and dangerous countries, such as North Korea, Syria, Nigeria. So the Open Doors goes to the very hard to reach people. Since Run for the Sun began in the mid-'80s, we've partnership with the Open Doors and distributed over 3.2 Bibles in many different languages. So, on Saturday, May 1st, that's the first Saturday of every May is when we celebrate Run for Sun. We usually have some type of an event. For us, we usually get asked to do a bike blessing in Burlington. And that bike blessing is usually followed by a ride and a lunch somewhere. And I tell you, our local blessing that we've been asked to do each year just continues to grow each year. I think we're last year, we were close to 200 bikes that came and blessings, because we almost ran out of, we have little blessing stickers that we give them and a little card. And so we almost ran out of those. So it's an exciting time. It kind of kicks off the year for us.
We were, what, 2 months late on that? Getting that?
Yeah, I think last year because of COVID, it was kind of later. in
Pushing
the
it off, I
year,
think it was
so-
like 2 months after.
Yeah.
I finally decided we were gonna do it.
And I think people were really ready to get out, so that was a great benefit for us. And we don't, it's not that we charge anything for it, people just come, once in a while we get a donation, but that's kind of how we kick off our Run for the Sun. So if you feel led to support Run for the Sun, donations can be given to any of the CMA members in the church. If you know a CMA member from somewhere else, you're welcome to give it to them. It just all goes for the same purpose. It doesn't really matter where it goes to. If you want to be able to do the tax deduction, there are some flyers back on the small table by the donation box that you can fill out a section and keep for yourself so you know how much you gave and where that's going and for your tax purposes, which is that time of year again. I'd like to recognize some of our other CMA members from the church that you may not know. Scott Wunderlich is also rides with us, is a member of our CMA chapter in Burlington. Joey and Rob Adams. They are actually members of the Muscatine CMA chapter, but they are now our state area reps. So they're here a lot. And then members of our church that are also CMA members are Tucker McLaughlin is a CMA youth. Say hi, Tucker. And then Jason and Alicia McLaughlin are CMA members also from our church. So we have some guests. Mark and Carla Kornick back there. They were our former area state reps. And they belong to our Burlington chapter. Tom and Lynn Sawyer over there. Tom was our former president for 19 years. So he's just kind of sitting back there. Does anybody have questions for us or anything? I think we went way over time. So a little delay on the donuts and coffee. Sorry about that.
One note is that all our chapters are funded through us. We get no money from national to run our chapters. Everything is funded through what we do, money we give to keep our chapters going. And when we go out to these events and travel, it's either money out of our pocket, or we try to, the blessing stickers and Bibles and stuff we buy through our chapter money, but everything else comes out of our pocket to go to do this. I mean, it's not, we get absolutely none of that money for the state, for our chapters, as far as helping pay for stuff. I mean, it buys the Bibles that we pay for, but yeah, if it makes sense. If it don't, you can hit me later.
There is an insert in your worship folder today that has information on Run for the Sun. So if you have any questions, just ask somebody. The bikes are really just our tools. We just are just another form of ministry and evangelist, just like when Caleb comes and talks to us. It's just another form of ministry and outreach. So something we enjoy, and you're welcome to come join us and sit in on a meeting whenever you want, or whatever, come to an event. So don't have to have two wheels, but.
And our meetings are the second Saturday of each month, 10 o'clock at the Harley-Davidson shop. And another note, we're not blessing the bikes, we're blessing the rider on the bike.
It's just kind of a way to get into them and ask them what they need for prayer. So, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thank you guys very much. I learned a lot in that presentation, so thank you. And we're blessed as a church to have you here as in our chairs every week. And I was just reminded after Jeff's flyover that, you know, there are just no limits to God. There is no limits to the means He will do to reach the unreached. Worldwide, we are all His children. And it's just amazing that, you know, you get on a motorcycle and you can reach God, or you get on a scooter or a horse or a camel, you know, so it's just amazing to me that there's just no limits to His love, period. So if you would stand, we'll end our worship together. So enjoy some fellowship and have some breakfast. Thank you guys for coming. Have a good week.